Great to be back on the mic here at the MSU Open Mic podcast. I'm Howard Wade Jr., host. We took a break last week, but we're back in business. Today, I'm joined by 3 MSU students. I will later be joined by one more, but for today, the topic will basically be Native American, res life. How is it as a Minot State student away from the res? And these girls can all attest that they've experienced some form of it. I know even Sophia got a taste of it last weekend, I believe, so we'll get right on into it. Let's start with introductions, ladies. We'll go around the room. Well, you know what? We'll rock, paper, scissors. We rock, paper, scissors on the show a lot. So let's do, you know what? You two, and then me and you'll go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right, I lost. Oh, boy. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Okay, hold up. You throw out paper, you throw out scissors. I'm kidding. Let's try it one more time.
Oh my god. We spent too much time together.
There we go. Okay, and she beat me. So who lost? You lost.
I lost.
You won. You two go to see who'll go second.
Oh. Guess it's me.
So first, second, third. Let's hear it.
All right, my name's Sophia Kenyon. As most of you could probably tell, I am not native. I just have experienced a lot of native culture because of Sammy here, so that's what I'm here for.
Okay.
I'm Sammy Burnell. I'm from Wolf Point, Montana, and that's the Fort Peck Reservation in Montana.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Kendra Martell. I'm from Poplar, Montana, and that's also on the reservation.
All right. Good stuff. And I'm like Sophia, whereas I did not grow up in res life, but had teammates in track, both of you. And then a friend of mine, the girl who's joining us, Tambray, she also did grow up, I believe in, you know what? I don't want to say it. I'll let her give her recognition to where she's from. So let's get right on into it. This past weekend, there was an event hosted. I'll let Sammy touch on this because I saw you there. What was this large event? I knew that I wanted to walk through the dome, and there was just people everywhere, costumes, the works. I had some it wasn't a patty, it was like a pastry. Oh, you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was good. It was at the left when you walk in, it was like a little pastry. It was large. Mm-hmm. It was good. Tell us, what was that all about?
So that was the powwow that they have here.
Okay.
And it's an event that happens in all reservations and all throughout Native culture. That's kind of our thing. It's it started way back. They've been doing it forever. And at first, towards the beginning, it was more of a ceremonial type thing, and it's just a dance. And you just you don't dance just to dance. You dance for a reason.
Okay.
And it's there's a reason behind everything in the culture. And yeah, there's a bunch of different varieties of dance. And
tell us, what are some of the variety of dances?
So for the men, there's the grass dance, fancy dance, traditional, and
Chicken.
Chicken? Okay. And for the women? Are there women dances for women, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's our traditional and fancy, just like the men's, and Jingle.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. Can you guys do any of them? All of them? Do you have to know all of them, or is it learned as you grow, or what?
It's not required,
yeah.
But pretty much I think a bunch of people did it growing up, but.
Okay. Now you mentioned both of you are from areas in Montana, but not the same. Is it close by or no?
Yeah, we're from the same reservation.
Same reservation?
Just different towns.
Just different towns. Okay. So, Keandra, you can talk about this then. How does that work? So is it say for North Dakota, one big state, but then you have Minot, Bismarck, Fargo. Is it like that kind of thing? You know what I'm saying? Not really?
No.
Because you said, you're from the same res, but different towns. Mm-hmm. So can you explain that? What do you mean exactly by that?
So there's a bunch of different towns in the reservation, and there's multiple reservations in the states.
Oh, I thought it was all just like one big reservation, like one big reservation in
yeah.
Montana that everyone loves. And
Yeah, me too.
did you
Yeah.
get that? I was. That's why I was like, oh yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Everyone is just all in one area, just chill. So Sophia, let's find out what you've learned so far. Being around Sammy, you guys are roommates, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
being around Sammy a lot, as teammates, roommates, like what? Tell us. Let me see what I can ask you on the dot. Do you know any of her favorite foods?
Oh, that's a good question. Like native foods.
Yeah.
Well, she likes
Come on, I can see you.
fried
know it.
bread tacos. That's what the pastries
Yeah,
you were talking
you-
about. Fried
right.
bread. That was good. Let me think.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot like this, but I'm sure you know. I'm really confident in you that you know.
I wish I did, but I really don't. Like, I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard her talk about like a traditionally native dish.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Do you have a traditional native dish that you really enjoy, or not really?
I guess I would say like the Indian tacos. Those are pretty good.
They are.
There's also like berry soup,
Wajabi.
wojapi. it's called.
Wajabi. I'm gonna look that up.
That's really good. It's like normally made with choke cherries, but you could use like any berry, and it's pretty good for dessert.
Let's get a quick spelling on that, please.
Wojapi.
Wojpi.
Put her in the spelling bee. Jeez, Louise.
I'm actually curious if it'll come up on Google.
Is it like this?
Yeah.
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 Okay. Let's get an image for our viewers to see. What camera are we on? Let me see. Come on. Hold up. There we go. So I hope you guys can see it. It's wujabi. One of the native dishes that Sammy really likes. What about you, Keandra? Do you have a native traditional dish that you prefer to like, or not really?
I really like the fried bread. My mom makes the best fried bread.
Yeah?
Just saying.
Just what's that?
Hey now.
What's that? Okay, let's keep it all fun and games, okay? Let's not start fighting. There's no need for it. What else happened this weekend? Did you make it to the powwow?
For a little bit.
For a little bit? Yeah, what did you experience at this powwow?
Well, it was way different than outdoor powwows.
Oh, yeah, that must be something. I'm guessing outdoor powwow is probably a lot bigger because there's a lot more space. Yeah?
Yeah. Well, it's just like it was really different seeing it indoors because I've never seen one indoors.
Oh, you've never seen it
before.
indoor either?
Yeah, it's always just been outside.
This is the second time that I've attended the powwow event, and both of them have been indoor. So you guys have experienced indoor and outdoor.
Mm-hmm.
I've only experienced indoor. So what's different with indoor and outdoor?
You're outdoors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not really anything.
Not really much. It's just that
Yeah.
you're out, the feeling of being outdoors.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. That makes sense. That really does make sense. Now, let's talk about life in the res as opposed to like outside of the res, as many would say in like US communities. What's different there? Like, is there a different like way of life in terms of like greetings, or is there a different like attitude towards the way people approach their everyday living? Like, what are the differences?
Well, like the reservations always have like a bad rep for being like really high crime and just like really ran down and like just not a good place. But then at the same time, there's like this huge pride that a lot of people have for coming from that and like going off and getting their education and then like just thriving and getting better than where you came from.
Yeah.
And then using the education that you get to make your home better.
Yeah. You agree? I'm assuming. I see the head nods.
Yeah.
See the head nods. I agree. Like I said, Tamri, when she walks in, can attest. Like we've spoken about like how she grew up like around like Native Americans and like now attending Minot State University and just little changes in things. Like I'm from the Bahamas, so like island life, like we do a lot of things differently than like city life, or even we're a totally different country. Like we greet people differently. You like certain things you just do certain things you don't do. Whereas in America, certain things are obviously accepted. So little stuff like that, people don't understand, but like it can be different for you, and you have to still adapt to it because in like this way of life or like society, you might be considered like weird, or like you mentioned, people look at you as like ran down, when in truth, you're being you and you're comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you agree, Sophia?
Okay, so me and her town, I visited her town before.
Yeah.
And we're both small towns, and ours is not obviously not on the reservation, but our towns are so similar. So I just don't understand why they get such a bad rap when both of our towns are very similar, because we've talked about this and we've compared and contrast both of our towns, and they seem pretty similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any like, I wouldn't say reasoning, because people can just be bad people for no reason, but is there any reason in your mind why people tend to give the res life such a bad rep, or what? Is it just haters or what?
Like, I don't really like to pull the race card all the time, but it's usually that from like the surrounding areas.
And how do you feel a part of Minot State University? How do they contribute to you being like uplifting your spirit as a Native American, like on campus and around like our area in Minot?
Well, I mean, it's pretty cool seeing like the powwow here and like seeing one away from home, because like I never really saw one away from home.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just like really comforting finding those people that like acknowledge like you're from here, and like I see you and all of that, and just like being treated as anyone else.
That's the big thing. I see you, like those 3 words right there, being able to still be recognized even outside of your usual comfort zone, your usual way of life. One, not being judged, not being questioned, and even if people may have their questions or judgments, just to not bring it up upon someone as if you're better than them, I'm sure that must be comforting. Am I right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you guys what are you? You're a senior, sophomore? Sophomore, freshman. Okay, so you have more time to go in Minot State University, or like just in life in general as a college student, I'm assuming. So are there any goals or like things that you want to accomplish as someone that grew up, mainly for you two, in res life, that now because you mentioned getting your education, is there anything that you want to contribute to your hometown, or like what are the plans?
I have just like always wanted to go off to a university and get my education, and then use the knowledge that I gain to be able to make like my home a better place. Okay. So like whether that be a doctor or just like someone in the healthcare area, that's just like always what I've wanted to do.
Okay. Keandra?
Same thing, because like we do have a bad rep.
Yeah. And
I want to come back and go to my res and be like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm making my res better. And maybe other people will follow my suit.
Right. That's the goal. Like that's all you can hope for. And for you, Sophia, do you have any like plans or ideas that you can, now that you've lived alongside with Sammy for a while, help other people if you come in contact with them and they're like giving the Native Americans a bad rap or just being so closed-minded? Are there any like goals, aspirations that you have?
Well, yeah. I mean, I just want to go back home and not call Native people Indians anymore. Yeah. Because that's still a big thing where I'm from. Like, even coming up here, I like really didn't know that the proper term is Native Americans. So it's really important for me like to spread that and not be so much like stereotypes against them, because that's all we've learned, stereotypes about them. Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. So in terms of life on Minot State University's campus, right? I know we've all been at some point in time a part of the track team. You've been to different competitions and whatever. You did mention that you're comfortable in this setting. Like, how great is it to be able to have, I know you guys, do you have scholarships and like grants and funds, right? I'm assuming, yeah. How great is it to have a university that technically is still like public and really, I know it might look good, and it is good that Minot State University contributes to the Native Americans, but they don't have to if you think about it. They really don't. So how great is it that this institution can look at the Native American community and say, hey, we will stand alongside you? How great is that?
It's really comforting, yeah.
And in Montana, I've never been, so I really do want to go because I have a lot of friends now that are from Montana. But how's the difference like in Montana living to Minot State University living? Like, do you prefer? I know this might sound tough, but do you prefer life like outside of your res, like in areas of Montana, or just Minot State University's area in general? You can be honest, it's fine.
Well, like I love being home and I like love where I'm from, but there's also like not very many resources there. Like our closest Walmart is an hour away.
Ooh. Gee.
Same with Starbucks.
Yeah.
Your Starbucks is an hour away?
For like 4 hours if you want to stay in the state.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah, Minot's the closest mall to where we're from.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like the town I'm from, there's only one stoplight out of the whole town.
Sure. I mean, I might like that. Just keep driving. Just you don't ever have to stop for anything. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that. You mentioned the crime. So I can say for where I'm from, the crime rate is it's a problem. I must say that. It's a problem. You're like, for example, I told my mom a few weeks ago that I was working on campus and walking back home, and it was like 4 a.m. She calls me and she's like, "Oh my gosh, just please stay home. Don't walk home. I don't want you to get in any trouble." Because she's so used to me having to be safe where I'm from. But I told her, "Oh, why not? I've never heard any crime on television or on social media ever. I don't think I've ever like heard of a murder. Back home, you're in class with someone today and tomorrow they're gone. That's it's bad." So how is it like in the res and then moving to somewhere where you don't have to worry about it? How do you like control your mentals for all that?
Well, just like talking about the crime rate, like there's crime everywhere and there's like problems everywhere, but like the fact that our reservation has such a small population and like the number of people that have committed crimes or are just like have like serious health problems, it's just really bad compared to like comparing it to a city of this size compared to the population of the reservation. It's just all about like the numbers.
Okay. Can you agree, Keandra? Because like you guys came from similar areas, right? So do you agree with what she's saying?
Yeah, and I think we kind of have a little more crime rates because we don't have a whole lot to do. So like if you want to go out and do something, it's either cruising or if you're old enough, drinking, and like pretty much anything you want to do, you have to travel for. So it's kind of tough. So I think people turn to different things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's talk about tribal sovereignty. Do you guys know about tribal sovereignty? A little bit?
A
little bit. Can you like tell those who wouldn't know as much as you do know, like the importance of tribal sovereignty? If not, or let's touch on why not Indians but Native Americans is the correct term.
Well, the term Indians was given to us by Christopher Columbus.
Boy, we love that guy, don't
Yeah.
we? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll pause right there. Christopher Columbus, he was low-key like a smart guy. The guy probably didn't know much, but he knew this. He knew that if he could get his name in the history books for discovering so many places and just giving names and cultures to people, then I guess he's right. No, Christopher Columbus, for all we know, barely sailed anywhere, and he just gave places names, gave people names, gave people. Oh my goodness, Christopher Columbus. It is ridiculous. Let's continue. So continue.
Yeah, so the term Indians was given to us by him because when he first discovered America and he found the Native Americans, he thought he was in India.
Yep, there we go.
Which proves how smart he is. And like at that same time, he saw like a manatee in the water and he journaled it as seeing a mermaid. So just a brilliant guy.
Yeah, way to go, Chris. You'll be proud of yourself there, buddy. Now, you have people who are always questioning, like land and this and land that. Let's touch on that because I'm not American, but I do often hear sip about, whose land is it? Whose land is it not? Like, so, like, what's the big deal about all that?
I guess it goes back to Christopher Columbus and like the first settlers, because like this was the Native Americans' land, the United States was, and then the Christopher Columbus and all the other white people came in and just like stole the land and like didn't care about anything. They just stole everything.
And just continued all until a while where I'm guessing the Native Americans struggled for a bit, and now they've risen up over years and years and years, and all they want is their rightful land back.
They want the recognition. They want. I mean, I'm not trying to speak for them, but I just feel like they deserve people to say that it's their land before our land. You know, before the white people's land.
And can you agree? I'm assuming. Yeah. I have to make sure that you agree, because you can disagree with Sammy and be like, I'm comfortable, when in truth, Sammy genuinely wants that recognition for her and her people, you know? So, I mean, like I said, me and Sophia, we're not from the res, but we do see your point of view, and we like are advocating for like a lot of things to go in the favors of Native American people. Like, Minot State does a great job. I know the U.S. does what they can do in terms of like, do you guys pay taxes? I don't know. You pay taxes? Yeah.
Some of them.
Pay taxes.
Yeah.
Try. Like, that's something that I feel like, shoots, I hate filing for taxes. I won't speak on that because I gotta, what's today? April 27th? I gotta work on that. I like how the deadline keeps like being extended. It's for people like me. It's not like I'm slacking, but
You are.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, I don't think I'm a slacker. Like, I don't know. Okay, so let's talk about some like key terms. I looked up before I came here. What's a Mohawk?
I think that's a tribe. Is it?
I thought it was something they wore on the top.
I know I had a Mohawk like for 2 years. Let's look it up.
They're like a Mohawk, like the Mohawk Indians.
Mojave?
Maybe. I don't know.
Mohawk in Native American culture. So, according to Google, a Mohawk are traditionally the keepers of the eastern door of the, hold on now, get ready for this pronunciation, Iroquois Confederacy, also known as the Six Nations Confederacy, or the, here's another one, ready? Haudenosaunee. Let's read that one.
Is that Hadadza?
No.
Let's see if you can read that big H word. Yep, see, we're all learning something new today. It says the original homeland is the northern eastern region of New York State, extending into southern Canada and Vermont. Okay, that's a Mohawk. I don't know. When I looked up like things to know about Native American areas, like a Mohawk was one of the things. So I thought that was like pretty popular, I guess. I'm guessing it's like not.
Yeah.
If you were to give, let's do 3 things that someone should know if you're speaking to someone that's never heard about res life or never heard about Native American, what would be your top 3 things?
I would say like get educated on like the land that you're on and just like learn the history, like the real history of it. I would tell everyone to get educated on the boarding schools that they had. It was like, it's really a big it's a huge problem, but it's like the main thing is in Canada right now because they're digging up all of the unmarked graves that were at the boarding schools. So like natives would be taken from their families like without any warning. Yeah. And like they would be forced to go to these boarding schools. Right. And the boarding schools were supposed to make them like proper, and they weren't, you couldn't even really call them schools. They were more like internment camps, I'd say. And they were for like the Catholic Church, and so the native kids were forced to like cut their hair, which is a huge problem in our culture because hair is really powerful. and like they weren't allowed to speak their language. They weren't allowed to dress like how they used to.
normally
They
do.
had to wear like a nice shirt, like slacks, whatever. And they weren't really taught like basic schooling. They were forced to learn stuff like straight from the Bible. And like that wasn't their religion, and that religion was forced upon them. And like if you think that's bad, then like the things that happen underground there were terrible, because there was so many like sexual assaults and just terrible things, and there's so many murders that happened that no one knew about, because no one knew who these kids were, because when they got there they had their traditionally given names, and the white men switched their names to more like white proper names. So they're really struck in of like their entire history.
Basically, yeah, that's sad. Do you have a traditional name or no?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you want to tell us?
It's Spotted Hawk Woman. I was given that when I was a little kid.
Okay.
Yeah. There's like a whole ceremony that has to go on
for
you
real?
to get your new name. Yeah.
Aw. Do you have a traditional name?
No, I don't.
Do you want a traditional name? Like, do you ever feel like at some point in time you're going to like just give yourself a traditional name?
Well, you can't just give
Can't
yourself
you
one.
give yourself?
But I do want one at some point, but I want to know more about my culture before I just throw myself in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's smart. That's smart. Do you remember much about the ceremony, Sammy, or no?
Not really, but there just has to be a certain person who does it, and it has to be like at a certain place, and there's a lot of specifics that go into it.
You know what? Yeah, I'll pause right now because Tambre is trying to find us. So I'll just FaceTime her so that we can have our fourth guest. Let's pray. Tambre says nothing obscene and just answers so that she can join us.
Hello.
Howdy. You can say hi to everyone.
No idea if I'm like going the right way. I only had one class in this building, so.
Okay, so perfect. You see that door? No. That door right there. You're doing so good. Yep, okay, keep going straight. You're like on the west side of Hartnett.
Hi.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our fourth and final guest coming on, and we're just helping her find her way into the studio. Take a right at those steps.
Okay, now where?
Keep going straight. Straight. Now go down those tiny steps. Yep. She's doing so good, guys. She's almost there. Okay. Go through that door. Take a right.
I have someone.
There she is. Let's clap her on as she comes in. Hi. You made it.
I made it.
Perfect. Okay.
Oh, wrong way.
So, yes, you can get your stool. That's what we call that, right? We call it a stool. It's a stool?
Stool, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get teased so much by things that I say from where I'm from,
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the same
So-
for everybody. So,
so I'm used to it. I live with guys and they tease me all the time. Well, what I call something different. Okay, Tamre, when you've caught your breath and ready, just let me know, okay? Let everyone see who you are. You can give your little introduction, whatever you think is important for people to know who you are and where you're from.
Okay, my name is Tambry. I'm from North Dakota. I'm from Belcourt, so it's about 2 hours north of here. And I don't know. I don't have anything else to tell
Nothing
about
else to
myself.
say?
My major's, I'm a bio pre-med major, so there we go.
Okay. So yeah, we've talked about quite a few different topics. Do you have, let's see what topic that you can touch on before we continue. Do you have a favorite food from the Native American culture that you like, or not really?
Honestly, yeah. Okay, I don't know if you guys know it, but it's bullets and bangs. Have you ever heard that? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. I like those.
Never had it.
No.
Say it again. I've been Googling different foods too, just so I can see. You say bullets and bangs?
Yeah, so it's really simple. But basically it's just like hamburger, and it's like put into like a big meatball, I guess you could call it, and then it's just potatoes. And it's like in a soup. And then you have bread with it. Well, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like a type of bread.
Yeah. Or is that
Like
salmon?
this?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like that, with
Kinda.
like no
Yeah, let's
vegetables.
see if we can find a better picture then. This doesn't look like it at all.
No, that's it.
That's it? Okay, I can show this to everyone. Hold up. Which camera is that? Hey guys. So this is... Hold up.
Is it like a broth? Or is it like a creamy?
Like meatballs.
There we go.
And
This
a
is
broth.
bullets and bangs, guys. Tambre, this is like her favorite meal from the Native American culture.
You have it on New Year's.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Oh
that.
yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Because I live on the Fort Peck Reservation,
Mhm.
but my dad is enrolled in the Turtle Mountain, and that's Belcourt,
Mhm.
and so that's a huge like Turtle Mountain Chippewa dish,
Mm.
and like you always eat it on New Year's. I've ate it on New Year's like every year.
Mm-hmm.
You too?
What does that mean? Like, why do you eat it on New Year's?
Yeah, why
I
do
don't
you
know the
No.
significance behind it, but it's just like something that, like,
Is it like black eyed peas? You just eat them on New Year's? I don't know if you guys know that, but that's what we eat on New Year's.
Probably.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just always on New Year's,
Mhm.
end of Christmas,
Yeah.
around that time.
Yeah.
I think me and Keandra just eat whatever we want to eat on New Year's. Because I'm seeing her look left and right, and she's like, yeah, no, I just smash down whatever's in front of me, you know? That's me. Okay, Tambre,
Yes.
what do you have any goals or aspirations that you'd want to achieve that you can, like, basically, like, dedicate to, like, Native American culture in your lifetime, or, like, next 5 years, 10 years, or, like, what motivates you to, like, promote and support Native Americans?
What motivates me?
Yes.
Well, okay, for me, I guess it's like indigenous people in the medical field. There's not too many of them. If
Okay.
you look at it. I guess just kind of like looking back at like, I don't know how to explain this. Okay, so like everyone knows what IHS is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I plan on going back and like working at IHS hospitals. I don't know if I like want to go back home or if I want to go somewhere else, but I just want to give back to like what I've learned and like give back to everyone.
Hey, it's nothing wrong to give back.
Yeah.
If you make it big and you got some money, give back to me, you know? I can always use some money. I can always use money. We can all use money. You want to give back too? Yeah, give back to me.
Yeah.
You get it?
I also want to, after learning what IHS is from them, because I've
Yeah.
never heard of that before this.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm going into the psychology field. I want to be a psychiatrist, and I really want to work for IHS because I feel like they don't really get that many opportunities for mental health prevention and just talk about their mental health.
Oh, wow. I guess I'll be back in school for the next 4 years, and I could be an IHS too. Shoot. Okay, that's really motivating. That really is motivating. Now, I think we all can sort of talk on this again out of Tambre's here. Life in like Minot State University's community and being supported as much as the Native Americans are, and like, has there been a time, this will get a bit, how do I say this? Not petty, but a bit touchy, but I'll touch on it. Has there been a time where you've had to like stand up and like put someone in their place because like they're just, you know, a bit out of line, you know, just a bit out of line about the Native Americans, whether it's like something they say or let's just touch on that. We'll go from Sophia and we'll go straight around. Yes, no, if no, fine. If yes, let's hear about it.
Like just in Minot State.
Minot State, wherever.
Okay, yeah, like I was just talking about it earlier. Like back home, they don't know anything. We know the basic stuff like Trail of Tears, and that's about it, honestly. And so I just want to educate people on what's right and what's wrong to say. So yeah.
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
Let them know.
So like whenever they call you guys Indians, I just have to say something because it's not right to call them that. So
Okay, let's go through a quick simulation here. Ready?
okay,
Okay.
okay.
All right. So yeah, I saw this Indian girl over here.
Whoa,
like,
whoa, whoa.
What's up?
The actual proper term is Native Americans, and
She's Indian. What do you mean?
no, is she actually from India?
I think so. She
Well, how
looks
can you
like
tell?
Indian.
If I'm looking at her right now, she looks like a Native American. Why don't you go up and ask her if she's a Native American?
What do you mean? She's obviously Indian. Look at her.
Yeah, I got to work on my skills a little bit more.
Yeah, these are the people. You got some hard heads around there.
Yeah.
You got some hard heads around. Okay, we'll do that simulation with everyone. Let's go, Sammy. Come on. Okay, ready? So yeah, I was walking through the mall, Sammy, and I saw this Indian guy. Like, he's like cool. Like, he looked really
Native
cool.
American.
Say what?
Native American.
Why'd you just say that? You
Native-
stopped me while I was trying to tell you
It's-
something.
It's Native American.
What is?
The term.
What term?
The proper term.
What proper term?
Instead of Indians, you could use Native American or Indigenous
What?
people.
He's not Indian?
No,
How?
because he's Native American.
That makes no sense. He's Indian. He's basically the same thing, right?
No,
How?
it's not the proper term.
What? You tripping. Very good, Sammy. Very good. Very good. Very good. Keandra, I feel like I'll win this simulation against you.
Probably.
Just slap him.
All right, you ready? All right. So yeah, Keandra, like, I really, really like this native. Oh,
There you go. There you go. It worked.
Okay, I'll skip Keandra because I think. Okay, Tamre, let's go. I'll continue on that. Tamre, I think I really like this Indian girl. Like, I met her like in my psychology class, and like she's like a really nice Indian girl. Straight up Indian girl. Looks really cute. Like,
Indian.
yeah.
Where's she from?
I don't know. We haven't gotten that deep yet, but like, she's Indian. I know that for sure.
Is she from India?
I think so. She looks Indian, Tamre.
I think you might be confused.
How?
I know that girl. She's not from India. I think you should have a conversation with her about that.
I don't need to. You can just look at her.
I don't know. If you say Indian to her, see what her reaction to that.
Why?
I don't think it's gonna be a good one.
You and her.
I'm looking out for you, Howard.
You and her tripping. She's Indian. You're Indian. We all Indian.
I guess you're just gonna have to find out the hard way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Kidding me? I don't care. You. I don't know. She's Indian. She looks Indian. Okay, that's very good. Very good. Good simulation, guys. Let's give us all a quick clap for winning that simulation. And it worked because I said Native American and I said Indian again. So that did work. Okay, so that was Sophia's time. Sammy, has there been a time where you've had to, just not be the nice, cool Sammy and just lay it on someone?
Yes, there has multiple times.
Yeah.
Like back home and even at Minot State, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But like back home, just like growing up and like being in sports, and we would play against other teams that aren't from the reservation.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just always been like this thing dividing us. And like the one time I can remember, like right now, I was in junior high and I was just playing basketball against this other team that's not on the reservation or not from the reservation. And like, just doing my thing, playing basketball. And the girl I was like guarding or something called me like a slur out of nowhere. And I was just like, dang, okay. Like, we're just playing basketball right now. And that was the last time I can remember, like, back home. But at Minot State, I won't get into the specifics.
No
but
need. And it's all about educating. It's all about education. That's why I went through that simulation, because I'm a firm believer that you can't fight fire with fire. That's like the term that I like to use with a lot of people with problem resolving. Because if someone is truthfully unknown, like Sophia mentioned, she didn't know the correct term was Native American until she got affiliated with Sammy really close. And like, even being from back home, people who even are close to the res in Montana still are unsure about certain facts. So you use that opportunity to say, hey, it's actually this, not this, And then if that person has a good heart, they'd be like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm so sorry. Thank you for educating me. Sadly, if it goes like beyond that and they are still gullible, or like me, still saying that person's Indian, then you can throw hands. I give you that. I give you the right to just start throwing hands. Just be like, yeah, okay, you know what? Call me Indian again. Go ahead. Go ahead. Call me Indian again. Just start throwing hands. But no, truthfully, it is all about like educating anyone you come in contact with, whatever it might be, whatever you feel needs to be educated upon, then address it. Don't just sugarcoat it or let it pass you by. Because then if it does bother you and then that person continues to go about their everyday living thinking that that's the right way, then that to me that just is not right. You know what I'm saying?
I just want to say that most people want to be educated.
Yeah,
And they want to know.
that's
They
good.
don't want to not know. So
good. Keandra?
Well, in 7th grade, we went to a tournament in Plentywood to play basketball. And we had parents in the crowd because I can't remember what team we were playing, but they're pretty much all little white girls. And their parents were sitting in the crowd calling us slurs. And they're calling us Perry N-word.
The parents?
Mm-hmm. And they're calling us native trash. And this was all in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And it was so frustrating because we couldn't do nothing because they were in the crowd. But we ended up winning, so.
That's what you did. That's what you do. You win, you get your dub, you move on. Sambre, I don't know if there's been a time.
Oh yeah, there's been plenty growing up, especially for sports. I feel like in North Dakota, there's too many times to talk about. So I feel like I'm just gonna like talk about my time at Minot State. I haven't really had any like, where I like had to like say some things, but
Yeah.
like just like educating. So like explaining like where I'm from, and then when people automatically hear reservation, they think, oh my God, like bad life, like bad things, drugs, like they think of every worst like bad thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's not it. It's just like any other town, just it's a reservation. So it's just kind of like educating people on that, like, no, you can live happily there, you know what I mean? It's not what it's made out to be on the media, you know what I mean? So just cases like that, I guess.
Yeah, we touched on it earlier when Sammy mentioned about the crime, and I was like, crime happens everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just a matter of what is publicized and what is put out there, what is thrown into the brain. I'm graduating in the broadcasting department pretty soon, and that's one thing that I will always have to try and remember. It's hard, because here's why it's hard. The media wants to feed you information. Believe it or not, the media has the information it wants to feed you days, weeks, sometimes months in advance. So if it wants to feed you certain information on a certain celebrity, then it will. If you think back, like especially the music industry, they're huge for it. They feed you information about, so let's say, what's her name? Megan Thee Stallion. Last year, Megan Thee Stallion was in the news outlets almost every day for something. This year, you barely hear anything about her. You don't know if Tory shot her. You don't know if he did. Like, you just don't know. Like, the media feeds you what they want to. So sadly, like you mentioned, the media has already given like this perception of res life, and now it's up to us all to say, hey, don't mind the media. It's a bit not a bit. It's over exaggerating like what happens. Yes, crime is there. Yes, drug is there. Where you're from, drugs are there. Where you're from, crime is there. So you don't see anyone going about saying, oh, where you're from's all bad, right? Like,
Could I add on to that too?
you can.
Okay, so back to like that, negative perception of like what a reservation is.
Mm-hmm.
So back to sports, when I can't remember what team it is. I want to say it had to have been, I think it was Jamestown, but they were visiting us, and one of the girls had misplaced, I think, her AirPods.
She thought
Her
it was stolen.
first reaction was they stole it. One of those girls came into our locker room and they stole our stuff. They made such a big deal about it. It was like a huge thing between like our sports director and theirs. Come to find out, she had found it.
Did she like apologize?
No apology, no nothing, and like, some bad things were said.
Yeah.
And it's just like, just because of her assumption, like, hey, maybe I misplaced this object. Maybe it wasn't someone stole it. Just because, would she have thought that if she was, I don't know, playing in Bismarck? Probably not.
Yeah.
So
True.
just another thing, and it was a big deal, and like parents were like making a big deal about it from Jamestown, and yeah, come to find out, she found it, didn't say sorry.
Didn't say a single word back to you guys. And Sophia, you did make a great point where you'd hope that everyone is willing to learn and now educate themselves. And I think a big part of that too is our loved and most gracious cancel culture in our generation. You say one thing wrong and you can probably, at this point, go to jail for it or just be canceled everywhere. You would walk into any establishment and they'll just point you out. Oh yeah, that's that guy. He said this about so and so, and then so people don't want that alone. So I'm almost sure like people have probably might have like almost like said something and then they'll hold back and they're like, yo, hold up, let me think about this, which is good. Now everyone can be like much more respectful of someone's culture, much more respectful of someone's point of view, so that there isn't any bucking heads, and you can just avoid all that. Like, you really can. Oh, this just came to my mind. Did you go to powwow?
This past weekend?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. It was, I missed Easter. I had to go home. Hey, there will be more.
I went to powwow.
Oh, good. What'd you think?
It was good. This is the second time. I had to
Yeah.
do a story on it last year, so like I was looking forward to it this year. I told them, I don't know why I can't remember the thing, but I tried the pastry thing.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called?
Fry
Fry
bread.
Fry bread?
Fried bread. I tried fried bread, and it was actually pretty good. It almost tastes like a lighter version of like Caribbean's fried dumplings. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like fried dumplings, you can do it in different shape sizes or whatever, but flatbread, it was like so soft.
What was your favorite thing about it?
Flatbread.
It was the fry bread? Yeah.
I had like 3 of those. Like I was like, yeah, I gotta go back with some more. It was good, but I did like the costumes. I didn't like get like the official names about it and everything, but like back home we have something called Junkanoo in our culture, and it's like this festival that happens like twice a year. You dress up. Everything that they make for the festival is like from like your community, where it can be like trash cans or like anything that's like supposed to be thrown away. It's just about embracing like what you're grateful for. So like the costumes were like pretty similar to me, what I've seen. Not Indian, Native American.
Wait,
Like,
I would just want to add that it's not called the costume.
it's not called costume.
No.
What's it called?
It's called regalia.
Regalia.
Yeah.
Let me type that down. See, educating me now. I know regalia. Let's put that in my little notes. I had some notes. Regalia. Yeah, the regalia were cute. I did like the regalia. Have you worn? When was the last time you've worn regalia? Because I think you probably have.
Yeah. I used to dance when I was like really little, like probably like 7 years old.
What's that mean?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Picture's pretty good. Picture's pretty good.
You?
I did once,
You
but I
did
was
once?
really young. I was in the tots category,
Yeah.
and my grandma made me the regalia, and I didn't know how to dance, so I just ran in circles the whole time.
Hey, that works. That works. Does anyone else know how to like do any other dances? Because you mentioned there were like a few dances. Like, what'd you say? Because you mentioned there was like some for the men, some for the women. Do like any of your like grandma, parents, any other siblings dance that you can relate to or no?
Me and my sister danced when we were both little,
Mhm.
and we just haven't as we've grown up. My mom used to. My grandma probably did. I don't really
Probably
know.
did, yeah. And you just mentioned that your grandma. I'm assuming your grandma, if she made the regalia for you,
I don't know,
then you don't know.
but I know some of my cousins.
Some of your
do
cousins
dance.
did do it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Come from a huge family.
Yeah. Is like family life like because I'm like I mentioned when I had my perception of like the res life, I always assumed it was like one big area, ton of people, just one big area. Now you're mentioning there's like towns. Didn't know that. Did not know that. So like is family life like really huge or is like not so much? Okay. Let's talk about family. We started on this side last time, so we'll start on this side this time. What do you think? Give me one thing that you think can be like honed in on in terms of saying family life is huge in the Native American culture.
What do you mean honed in on? I
Like,
suppose?
so for me, back home, a big thing about family life is I never leave my brother behind, no matter what. Like, my brother is like my big priority as an older brother. Even like away from home, check on him like every day, make sure he's good, have his back like all the time. Whereas some cultures they don't really care to prioritize
No, I
a
get what you're
brotherhood.
saying.
You know?
No, I feel like personally, like in my community back at home, like family is everything. You're really nothing without your family. And there's just so many extensions of that single family. Like, there's just so, it's big, like you said. So, like I said, I took the opportunity to go back home, even if I had to miss the powwow, just to hang out with my family. Just because I feel like it's, like, essential, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just there for you all the time, so gotta give, I don't know.
Okay. Kendra?
Family's
Family's
huge.
huge for you too?
And like they always say, it takes a tribe to raise a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And my family, we're always there for each other. We support each other. We're like, there could be a small thing and like everyone shows up.
Yep.
Everyone's there to support, and they're always happy for you. They never try to like drag you down and be like, oh, she's doing this, like whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's good.
And then we're all super close. And like I said, I'm from a huge family, like really huge.
Like, give a number. Give a number. What do you think?
So my auntie, guess how many kids she has? Just guess a random number.
Okay, so my grandma had 15, so I'll probably say 20.
No, not that many, but she had 15
15?
kids.
Okay, okay.
And then like the rest are all like 8 or 10. And then after those kids, they like fucking made a whole bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And like, oh my gosh, there's so many of them.
So your family in total is probably getting close to like maybe 200?
And I'm like, I can't remember how long ago it was, but my grandma like tallied up everything, and she had like over 100 like grandchildren. Yeah. And
If family's big though, like okay, like I don't know if it is like on your reservation, but like you can have the same last name and not be related to them.
Yeah.
That's how like far out it gets.
no,
It's kind of hard to make sense of, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm related to everyone. I could throw a rock and hit a cousin.
Oh, wow. That's
then-
that's a large family.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
even
large
have family on the Turtle Mountain Reservation. The Martells, like before my grandpa, he moved to this reservation.
Yeah.
They were all up there. So I have a whole bunch of family up there that I don't even know of.
Same, because my last name's Brunel,
Mm-hmm.
and like majority of my family is from Belcourt, where she's from, and like I don't even remember the last time I went to Belcourt. So, and there's so many like different Brunels like all spread out like in our
Yeah.
area, and I don't think I'm related to all of them. And there's like so many that I don't know that I am related to.
Yeah.
because there's too many.
Wow.
And my grandma came from the reservation in Arizona. She's Navajo in Mojave. And she has a whole bunch of family over there. So I think it'd be cool to go down there and just be like, hey.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So we are winding down in our MSU Open Mic podcast, but I just like to say I really do appreciate all 4 of you joining me today on this podcast. I had so much fun. I learned so much. I learned about regalia. I learned about flatbread. I learned about wasabi.
Fry bread.
Oh my god! I'm eating it because it was good. It really, really was good. I learned about family being big. 15. Gee, I don't know. Grandma's back in the day.
Oh,
Holy,
this is more recent.
holy! Respect to them. Respect to them. I will never give birth. Thank you, God. But yeah, respect to them. And I'm almost sure. Not almost. I can say I'm 100% sure. All of us will do our best to educate, and especially you guys, when you go back home, will do all you can to give back, as you all mentioned, giving back to the community. And that's the dream, you know? We all can do our part, hopefully make Res Life even better than it already is, and then the world a better place. Can we all agree?
Yep, definitely.
All right. That's all we have for today's Open Mic podcast. See you guys next week. Howard Wade signing out.